about business writing. Um, Depending upon what type of environment you'll be in, some of you will be doing a lot more paperwork than others. But most of us will be doing communication, even if it's just communicating within your institution. And whether it's complex writing or even writing an email or cover letter or any type of very simple communication, every form of communication comes with, sorry about that, that's old, comes with a technique, some form of technique. If we all go back to high school, right, you know that your teachers taught you that you should always have what a introduction, a body, and a closing. That's even true when you're writing cover letters, when you're writing emails, when you're writing anything that's structured. It should always have that format. And we talk about that in this class because after you've done your interview, you are going to send the person that interviewed you a thank you note. Today, you will be sending whoever did your mock interview for career services a thank you note. So we want to just teach you just a little bit about writing in the business format. Believe it or not, every company around the globe has an unwritten rule about what is acceptable writing, even down to the font size. 10 years ago, Times New Roman was the standard. It was the standard in business. It was the standard at school. Everybody did Times New Roman 12 font. Now you have they have Calibri, they have Allegri, they have Arial, and you can actually go down to 11 font, believe it or not. And that is what's considered standard. Now you can't get down when you start writing in 10 font and stuff like that, people actually consider that unprofessional. And obviously they don't want you writing in 14 and 15 font, and they think maybe something's going on with you. Being all your letters being left justified, obviously indented with first sentences and paragraphs, and double space between paragraph and single space within the paragraph, 1-inch margins, all very standard stuff. Hopefully we all learned in high school, but this is what is expected of you. People just expect you to know to do those things. They also expect you to know that whenever you're writing, that you should always have a heading, you should always have a date on something. Even an email, you should always have, the inside address if it's being sent to someone else. And then most importantly, you should always greet someone when you're reaching out to them. You should always say, hello, this person, hello, that person. Even especially when it's formal. If you're engaging with someone on a formal basis, always greet good evening, good morning, good afternoon, the person's name, and then have your introduction, body, and closing. It is considered professional. So you should not be engaging with anyone in your job. You definitely you don't send emails like you send text messages. And even when you send a text message, you should really be providing a greeting and a salutation at the end. That is considered professional, right? So remember, there's a difference between what we do socially and what we do professionally. So this is just a little view of what the bodies of a letter would look like. Normally you have your information at the top because obviously people need to know who am I talking to, the date you wrote it, and then you have who it's written to. That's because people do mistakenly get other people's mail, even if it's inside of a corporation. You don't want somebody else getting the wrong invoice. You want to always have the person's name on it that it's meant for. That way, if somebody opens it by mistake, they can get it to the right person. And then you go into the salutation, dear whomever it is. You can always have a reference, if it's an invoice or if it's, a reference, interview or whatever, you want to just jog their memories, and letting them know what this letter is about or this form of communication is about. The first paragraph is always, why am I right? That is the introduction. Why am I reaching out to you? The second paragraph goes into whatever it is you want to say. And then the last paragraph, specifically as it relates to you guys, and when you're sending out thank you notes, you should always have a call to action, and that is what happens next. So your last paragraph is always going to be that. So you might say, well, how do I know what to say? Well, when you're in your interview, and you've asked the question, where are they in the hiring process? Or maybe they've told you, we're going to, be making a decision 2 weeks from now. Your call to action should always reference how you ended the conversation. So I want you to think about your mock interviews. How did you end your mock interview? Some of you ended it with, oh, just thank you for, your time. Some of you ended it with, oh, your career services person telling you to follow up with your resume if they haven't given it back to you. Some of your people may have told you to follow back up with them because you're about to graduate. Whatever it is, you guys ended that conversation some kind of way, right? When you send a thank you note, you should always reference however that conversation ended, because it tells what happens next. So if it was your career services person said to you, they're going to follow back up with you in 2 weeks. So that means the ball's in their court. So once you email them and you thank them for their time, and I'm going to show you what your email should look like, oh, Sarah, I'm writing you to thank you for my mock interview. The next paragraph should always mention something that happened in that paragraph. Maybe Sarah told you that, hey, listen, we really want to send you out on these HVAC potential interviews, but just make sure that you know that these people here, they're really big on asking you questions about X, Y, and Z. So make sure you know the answer to that. Just mention that in the body, because the body is really designed to let the interviewer know that you are paying attention. So the first paragraph is always going to be, Sarah, thank you so much for taking the time to interview me. I really appreciated you pointing out to me, being prepared for the questions that they may ask regarding X, Y, and Z. That was very helpful, and I'll make sure I brush up my knowledge on that. Right? Just something to let the person know, I remembered what you said. I remember my interview. Right? And then the last paragraph just says, because really the only reason you're reaching out to them is to thank them, right? So you don't have to dig too much into anything. It can be just that simple. And then the last paragraph, thanks again. I will follow up. I look forward to you following up with me in 2 weeks. Why is that a call to action? Because it says what happens next. If Sarah said to you instead, please follow back up with me and show me what your reference list looks like, that is what goes in that paragraph. Once again, Sarah, thank you so much for meeting with me. Please find enclosed a copy of my reference letter. Whatever you were supposed to do or however it was supposed to go, that is the call to action. Even if Sarah just says, okay, I look forward to working with you, when you get closer to graduating, that's your call to action. Thank you so much, Sarah, for meeting with me today. I also am very excited to get to work with you over the next coming months when I get closer to graduating. That lets the person know where you guys are in this process. So when you go to your real interview, you are going to be making sure that before you leave, you kind of know what the next step is. Is it they're waiting for you? You're going to wait for them for 2 weeks. You should know something by next week, following up with your references, whatever it is, that is what your call to action is, because that lets them know that you are engaged. Because if you tell me you're going to call me back next week, or I should hear back about the decision next week, that's what I'm going to put in my call to action, right? Because you're basically saying, who's up next? Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Tom, for meeting with me regarding this position with your company in HVAC ABC. I look forward to hearing from you guys next week after you've done all your final interviews. That lets Mr. Tom know, listen, I'm expecting to hear back from you next week. Now, if I don't hear back from you next week, don't be surprised when I call the week after. And it's totally fine to do a follow up. If you don't hear back from Mr. Tom by the end of next week, it could be something very innocent. He could have had an emergency, he could have go out of town, whatever. You can reach back up with Mr. Tom the week after and say, hey, I'm just following up with you, regarding the position. I know you guys, you mentioned that, y'all will be done by the end of next week. So I just want to know what the status is. Like, don't leave me hanging, because a lot of times they will leave you hanging if you don't say something, right? So that is what that is. You would be surprised at how impressed companies are by people that send thank you notes. Like I said before, a lot of these people don't do this for a living, right? When you become a supervisor, one of the reasons why you get paid the big bucks is because you have to train, you have to hire, and you have to fire. So that is what sets you apart from just the first line guy that is just has to work. Once you become a supervisor, you got to train, you got to hire, you got to fire, you have to manage, right? So more money, more problems. So with that being said, you it's not like you get, well, sometimes it depends on the type of environment you're in. Some companies actually send their supervisors to school. I remember when I first started, even when I was in the military, and you were going to become a supervisor, you got trained to do that. I remember when I was my first corporate job, they sent you to leadership school. They sent you to, leadership programs. When I worked for a nonprofit in Florida years ago, they sent us to Rollins. We actually went to Rollins College and got a whole leadership training course. They don't do that nowadays. A lot of companies don't invest their time and money into their employees like they should be. But so people expect you to know how to do that. So, you want to at least thank them for doing it, right? That is the whole point of that. And they get impressed by that. I've had several students reach back out to me and say, oh my goodness, Miss Taylor, they said I was the only one that sent them a thank you note. And I stood out. I've seen this time and time again, right? It's very, very important. So what does a thank you note kind of looks like if you were, back in the day sending it, via mail, which most people don't do, it would look very similar to this. You would have a letterhead, and this would be you at the top, this letterhead, with your name, contact information. Obviously, nowadays we don't put our whole address, but nonetheless. And then the date you wrote it, and then who it's to, and you would have their information. And then obviously you would greet the person, and then you would go right into it. Thank you for the opportunity to interview with your position. This person went on to say that his enthusiasm for the position grew as they were talking, because they were telling him about the team, and his desire to work with them, blah, blah, blah. He's just saying whatever happened at that interview. And then the last paragraph, that call to action. Thank you again for your time. As requested, I am enclosing a copy of my professional reference. I look forward to hearing from you soon. So that call to action said, I look forward to hearing from you, because the person said it's not just something you say in that last sentence. It lets the person know, okay, Mr. Mitchell, you're supposed to follow back up with me. So I'm gonna hold you to that, right? So that is what that's all about, because everybody is taking time out of their lives to have these meetings with people. And we all know you're going to meet with 10 people and only one of us is going to get the job. So I'm also giving up time to interview with you to see if you want to pick me. So at best, you owe me, a call back. You owe me something, right? So, it's reciprocal, right? It's just a courtesy. So and then it's very, uh, you know, common for people to expect that courtesy to be returned. When you do an email, most of us will be doing an email. We'll be doing it to our career services person, or obviously to a real company. This is one of the reasons why you really want to know who you're meeting with. Like I told you, if you are talking to HR at the beginning at that screening interview, and you notice two or three emails on the list. Like, you want to know who those people are because it's not always obvious. It could be C Green at abc.com, like, who's C Green, and then you want to make sure C Green at this meeting. Try to get a business card, or at least know who C Green is, because you want to send a thank you to everybody that showed up, because it could be a panel interview. So if C Green showed up and R Smith showed up, R Smith is your supervisor and C Green is maybe a coworker or the top guy, you want to send a thank you note to both of them. Right, pretty much saying the same thing. Maybe if C Green said something that was a little bit more, whatever, important to you, and you want to send C Green a thank you note too, separate from our, whoever, and not just in the same email, you can do that too, right? Because again, I don't want to say it's a competition, but it's kind of a competition, right? Like, you're trying to stand out above the other person. So, do what you can to let it be known. With an email, clearly you don't have to put your information at the top, but their email is going to go here. We know how to send emails. The subject line is always going to be, whatever, interview with, I would just put interview with whoever you are. And then, thank you. You can say that. And then go into the same type of thing that you just saw in the previous email, in the previous letter. This is just in the email format. That's all that is. All right. So, what are you going to do today? What you're going to do today, um, and this is something I want to make sure you guys get right. You're going to send an email to career services. What does that mean? You are going to physically write the email and you're going to hit the send button. And then you are going to go to your sent email box and send me a copy of the email that you sent. Not send me a Word document where you write a thank you. Not send me what you're going to write then. Don't send me a sample of a thank you. I want to see the physical thank you that you sent them. Does everyone understand? That's what I want. I want that. I want to see that you physically sent them the thank you. And I'm not trying to see, do you know how to write a thank you note? I want to make sure that you physically sent the thank you note. All right.
So can we screenshot it?
Yeah, however you want to do it. You screenshot it, take a picture of it, whatever you want to do. I just want to see that you sent them the thank you note. Like, some people screenshot it and just, yeah, if you know how to do that, the easier the better. But I just want to make sure, because I always get different versions of it instead of the actual email that was sent. All right. Now, are there other forms of writing that you'll do really quickly? Yeah, go ahead, Taylor.
I I was trying to
Hey, Taylor, could you talk up a little bit? You sound really low.
I said I don't you said, I thought you were done talking. Sorry. You said the thing. You said you want us to write an email. To our emails, you want us to write a,
Right.
a hard copy.
No, so when you write your email and you hit send,
You mean like what, through my Gmail?
yeah, however you email your career services through
I
your
don't
G,
I don't email them. I text them.
you've
Just
never used your email?
no, not to send them. If not to send them. Well, I have used it, but I've only used it a few times. Um, for like important stuff.
So you know how to send an email?
Yeah, I know how to send emails. Yeah.
Then I want you to send them an email. If you don't have their email address, you can ask them for it, or, I mean, that's the quickest way. If you met with them, just ask them for their email and send them an email saying thank you for meeting with me for my interview.
Okay.
If you need help, just call me.
All right.
Just call me. All right. So there's other forms of business writing, or Taylor, if you go to your campus and talk to career services, they can help you. Um they're partners in this class. So they can help you. They know what you're supposed to do. Did you go to the campus yesterday?
Um,
Hmm? I thought you said you were going to the campus yesterday. That's why I was asking.
oh,
Oh,
yeah,
you didn't go.
I went there after I had to reschedule.
Oh,
I
okay.
missed.
So
I
whenever
had,
you go, that's fine. Whenever you go again, just stop by career services and they know what you need to do. They'll help you. Just tell them I sent you and tell them what it is you need to do and they'll help you.
okay.
Okay. And if not, just give me a call. All right. So there are other business letters that you will be writing, right? Hopefully, if we're all that, you may get more than one offer and you may have to write a email declining a position, right? Because you're still special. Um, there may be letters to suppliers you have to write to. You may have to reply back to customers complaining. Y'all know. So you're going to be writing a lot, even though you may not think you'll be writing. So one of the best things that you'll be writing is an acceptance. Hey, yeah, they say, hey, I want to hire you. Here's the offer letter, and you got to reply back to them. You're going to reply back to them, thanking them for their time. Same thing with them. Whatever you need to say, however you guys end it, because you guys could be going back and forth a little bit. And until you get that final offer for various things, you could be going back and forth via communication. So at the end of the day, whatever the format, whatever you're communicating for, just make sure the format is there. Greet the person, give a introduction, talk about what you want to talk about, and always give that salutation at the end. The goal is not to show you how to structure your writing, regardless of what you're writing about, right? So I don't care what it is you're writing to them about. Just make sure you always structure your writing in this way. It's one way to have clear communication. Has anyone ever, give me a thumbs up if you've ever gotten a rambling text or a rambling email. The thoughts are not coherent. It's so confusing, right? Because they just don't use paragraph breaks. So you never know, like, what is this? When does it end? Get me out of the matrix, right? And it's all just because they just didn't structure their writing well, right? So that is why it's so important to have a greeting paragraph, have the main thing you're talking about. If you're talking about two different things, separate that. So you may have four paragraphs. I'm writing as a follow-up to our conversation on you fixing my house and my plumbing. Talk about the house. In regards to fixing the house or the roof, talk about the roof. Go to the second paragraph to talk about the plumbing. Additionally, for the plumbing, close it out, right? So it doesn't matter what you're talking about. Clear communication starts with knowing how to structure the conversation. That's the point I want to get home. Does that make sense? Writing 101. And like I said to you before, you don't know what you don't know, but others do. And people do judge you on small things like knowing how to structure a conversation. That's the difference between a professional person and a non-professional person. I know you're like, oh my God, you stuck up people are judgy. Yes, people are very judgy. They do judge you on whether you can coherently communicate in all communication streams. You understand? So it's important for you to know how to structure your communication. If you have to decline, let me tell you something, my friends. You are going into an industry and your industry is small, especially for those of you that don't plan on traveling. If you get more than one offer, please refer back to the company that you're not going to go with and send them an email thanking them for their time. letting them know that you've just decided to move in a different direction and choose a different job. Even if you've had 4 interviews, you accept one, and you haven't heard back from the other 3, go ahead and let them know, even if they haven't reached out to you yet. It's a courtesy. Maybe they were going to reach out to you the next day. Maybe you were their top 3. It doesn't matter. You made a choice. They didn't tell you no yet. Reach out to them and let them know that you've decided to move on. It builds rapport. A no today could be a yes tomorrow, right? You may be at this one job for the next 2-3 years, but they don't have an apprenticeship program. They don't have any upward mobility. Maybe you chose them because whatever, they're closest to your house, whatever your reasons are for choosing them. But you may have to, now that one position that from that company, you didn't want them, maybe they were too far away, but let's just say they decided to open up a place close to your house now, and they're looking for a supervisor in that field. Now you're interested in that company. They may or may not remember you from before, right? So you don't want, it's a chance to network. And if I were you, I would even be um forward enough to try to connect with them on LinkedIn, because like I said, hey, it's a no today, but it could be a yes tomorrow. And they do the same thing with you. Nowadays, companies, if you interview with them, the first thing they want to do is link with you, even if they don't choose you, because they want to stay connected, right? So remember, this is business. Stay connected, be polite, send those communication, letting them know that you were either pulling your application away. If you haven't heard back, you're just saying, I'm going to withdraw my application. Or if they send you an offer and you want to go with someone else, just politely decline it. Communication is very, very important, my friends. It's part of networking. All right. Guess what? That's all I got for you today. Don't jump off. I want to tell you about what's going to happen for next week. Very, very important. But let's talk about the participation question really quickly. Here's your participation question. Really easy. I just want to know, what is your biggest hurdle or obstacle that you feel will keep you from achieving what you want in your new career? It's very important to think about in our careers, okay, what could be a potential obstacle, right? It's not going to stop me, but it's an obstacle. We all have them. We all have them, okay? And how will you overcome it? Maybe you don't have an answer right now, but this is really to get you to start to think about, okay, part of the planning process is setting goals, but also setting contingency plans. And a contingency plan is a what if plan. What if I have to go left instead of right? How will I navigate to my goal if I go left instead of right? I.e., what if I planned on doing an apprenticeship program, but it's 3 years in and these people, uh, got bought by this new guy and he's cheap and now they don't have a apprenticeship program. What am I going to do? With my contingency plan, then I'm just going to go back to school, right? So it's always good to have a contingency, a what if, plan A, plan B, right? So that's what this question is about, to really to get you to start to think about, oh, okay, so you mean life is not going to happen the way I plan it? You want your ancestors to laugh at you? Life never happens the way you plan it, but we're not going to talk about that. You are going to plan it, but I want you to start to think about, okay, so what happens if I have to do plan B? How will you overcome it, right? That's your question for today. I don't need to know all the details. It's really just designed to get you to start to think about that. All right. Starting tomorrow on Friday, week 4 will open. All of week 4 will open. My friends, please, please. And I know I'm saying this for the people in the back, not for the people here, because I know all of my studious people here get it. But for the people that will watch this video, which they probably won't watch the video, so they won't get it. All assignments must be in by next Wednesday. I'm only accepting, so when Sunday hits, I am no longer accepting anything from week 2. So week 1 is already closed, but week 2 closes on Sunday. Please do not call me, beg me, ask me. I always have one. Thank God I teach 4 classes. There's always one, maybe 2 sometimes. Someone that actually has the nerve to say, I've been gone for 4 weeks. Can I turn in all my work the day before class ends? And I can't do anything but laugh. I don't even take that person serious. On Monday, you cannot turn anything in from weeks 1 and 2. Please don't ask. I do not. The answer is going to be no. But week 3 is open until next Wednesday. Week 4 opens tomorrow. It will be open until next Wednesday. You are still free to turn in anything from week 2 up until Sunday. I'm being very, very generous. I'm being very, very generous. Starting Monday, though, starting tomorrow, Monday, you would only have weeks 3 and 4 open until Wednesday. Thursday is the last day of class. I always have at least 2 people not know that Thursday is the last day of class. It never fails. I think it's just, I don't know what it is. Class is on next Thursday at 10 p.m. sharp. I cannot open the class for you. I don't have those type of special powers. It closes for me too, right? We got to start a new class on Monday, the following Monday. I can't do anything for you. All assignments close, the final closes. I can't open up the final for you. It's done. It's a done deal. Next Thursday at 10 o'clock. On that Thursday, all assignments are due that Wednesday, right? With the exception of the final. The final opens tomorrow, and you have until Thursday night at 9:59 to do it. You also have Career Plan Project 3 that's also due on Thursday. Those are the only 2 assignments you can turn in on Thursday. Everything else is due by Wednesday. Please don't make me the bad person. Don't make me the bad person. The answer is going to be no. Please turn it in. Why, Miss Taylor, are you being like that? Because all grades are due that night. And I'm not staying up at 4 o'clock in the morning grading 23 papers that you decide to turn in at the last minute. I'm not doing that. Okay? All grades are due that night. So I don't even have any time either. You see how they do me? Yes, I'm already up till 2 o'clock in the morning grading all your papers so I can turn them in. You see my life? Please don't even ask. Please don't. All right. So get everything done. Starting tomorrow, week 4 opens. Week 3 was already open. Week 2 is still open. Y'all do right by me, okay? Thank you so much. All right, my friends, if you don't have anything else, that means I will see you back here Monday. Monday. Have a great weekend. I'll talk to you guys on Monday.
Miss
Hey, Miss
Taylor.
Taylor, I had a
Okay.
question.
Uh-huh.
Would I be able to call you after this about
Yep.
the LinkedIn? All right.
About the what? Is it personal or what?
It's I know for the 4 things you want on the LinkedIn is the about, the education, experience, and skill. The about part, where am
Yeah,
I?
no skill. The profile, which is just your picture and your title. The about is like your summary. Like if you have a summary from your resume, you can literally copy and paste that for the about.
Where's the about at on that page?
On LinkedIn,
Yeah.
it's so when you setting up your profile, the first box is going to be your profile. The second box is going to be about. It didn't give you an about?
No, it just says
No,
my name, analysis, experience,
actually,
education, skill, and interest.
Okay, you can
I
skip
can
it then.
actually answer that.
Oh, go ahead.
It's because I was on LinkedIn last night. It didn't have the about section, but it does say right below your name. It should say add section. So when you hit add section, it should have a list of what you can add to your LinkedIn profile. One of them should be the about. That's how I was able to get my about on there was by
Oh,
adding it.
see, LinkedIn. I did my LinkedIn page so many years ago. We're not gonna talk about that. It used to be automatic, so now I guess it's an option. There you go. Thank you so much for that. I didn't know
Yeah, I
that.
see it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Th-
Have a good weekend.
Thank you, sir. Somebody else had a question?
Yeah, Miss Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
So yesterday, I told you that I went to the job interview.
Mm-hmm.
The day before that, I was in the Teams, and I did the question, and when I submitted it, I went back the day after, and it's not there. And I was in the I answered the participation question, but it's saying that I have a zero and I never submitted it
Right. So that means you
for
had a
Tuesday.
technical issue. Yeah. So I can't give you attendance, but I can open an assignment if you want to turn it in for pay for points.
But I was here for
Yeah,
the
but you don't get
discussion.
attendance for coming to the live session. Remember, you get attendance by posting by that time. And since you didn't post by that time, I know. Listen, here's the deal. Having being marked absent one time is it's not it doesn't affect your grade. What affects your grade is turning in the assignment. So you're pretty studious. It's not going to affect your grade. Let me open up the assignment so you can turn in it, and then that was what affects your grade. You being marked absent one time is not affecting anything.
All right.
Yeah, trust me. Trust me. Because like the absent, the attendance has to do with um let's say you can't be absent for like 10 days in a row because then you get withdrawn. But if I'm absent on Monday and then I come on Tuesday, then the counting starts again to like, okay, now I'm present. So the absence on Monday goes away. So the attendance is really about you having consecutive presence. It doesn't affect your grade. It's more of a financial aid thing. But if you don't turn in the assignment, that's what affects your grade because you didn't turn it in. And so the attendance is already gone anyway. It's kind of like saying you came to campus and the door was locked. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, let's say you came to campus, the door was locked because the teacher had already left. You probably came to campus, but because the teacher already left, she can't give you attendance because it's over now. But I can at least let you turn it in and you can get your points. Does that make sense? Because it already
Yeah.
recorded you absent. Right. Okay. So like it's not a big deal. Let me turn it in. Let me so Tuesday, what class are you in? Melchi. That's why it's so important to meet that deadline, guys, because once they do attendance and the registrar is the one doing attendance, it's over. Unless you can somehow prove it was there, but it's already saying it wasn't there. So um Melchi, are you know what class? Okay, I'll look it up. All right, so give me after class, I'll open it up, okay? So you can turn it in, whatever. Tuesday, right?
Um. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else? All right, guys, have a good day.